President Jones, Chair Blanco III, COE Board of Directors, COE staff, esteemed guests, and my cherished TRIO community. This is one of the greatest honors of my life today. When Sam called in the summer, and I'm glad you mentioned how long we've known each other, we ran for the board together and then we got elected, not knowing what we got elected for, and then they put us on fundraising, and Sam and I were like, fundraising what? What are we doing? Car washes? But for those of you who are new in TRIO, 97 was a heck of a long time ago. And the people in this room that know me, and I know them, these are the people who have come to my graduations, who have driven hundreds of miles to attend my mother's funeral. So when Sam called, I'm like, oh crap, it's good news because this hasn't been an easy few years for Sam. And so I was a little worried when I got the call, but I'm elated that this is why, and so I thank you for this. So TRIO, I started TRIO in 1988 as a fourth grader, I kid, as a junior at high school at the gentle behest of my parents. And all I could tell you about how I felt about Upper Bound in 1988 was that it was a severe disruption to my Saturday sleep schedule. And as a junior in high school, that's important. But by the time I ended Upper Bound in 1990, I was different. I was changed. And then I could not articulate to you in words how I was different or why. Now I have words in my arsenal, but I can tell you not even my dissertation was enough to articulate the influence of TRIO in my life. I did not aspire to be an educational equity professional back then in the 80s and 90s. I wanted to be a psychologist who charged people like, back then, $300 an hour to just sit and listen to their problems on a couch. But after I finished that Upper Bound Bridge summer, I felt compelled. I had to stay close to TRIO, so however they would take me is what I did. And I'll tell you now, one of the favorite stories of Mr. Coyne was that he made me volunteer the first year that I was a freshman in college. He said, you need to prove to me that you're worthy of the students that you're going to interact with because they mean the world to me. I passed the test, and I worked with TRIO for the 5 years of my undergraduate degree program at Arizona State University. And TRIO fed me for those 5 years. In fact, I can tell you now, not just in food and ramen and wings, but it fed my soul. And I know that I stayed in college and finished college because of my interaction in TRIO. In hindsight, TRIO was probably those undergraduate years was probably my first experience with fulfillment. We all know that feeling, right, when we're at work. Our soul feels full. Our spirit livens up, no matter what stupidity surrounds us on that day. And I had to have more of that. I could not leave that. And I could also not find that anywhere else. So of course I knew that TRIO had changed my life, as I said earlier. I knew that when I left as a senior in high school, I was different. But there's something about when you are working with a TRIO student and you can visually see their transformation. And for those of us with Upper Bound experience, it's usually in their summer program, their first one, where they want to leave after 2 days. And they tell you that, I'm not coming back, but they come back on that Sunday. And then by the end of that 5 week, they're not the same people, and they know they're not the same. I didn't get to see that in myself, because you don't, but when I saw that in students, that's when I knew that this was not the normal gig in professional life, and I knew that it was the only gig for me. You see, TRIO transforms people because it transcends simply providing a service. TRIO is a culture. TRIO is a belief about the human potential. TRIO is a social movement. My TRIO experience taught me to believe in empowerment over entitlement and in agency over advantage. TRIO not only taught me skills, TRIO taught me that I have worth and unlimited potential, and I belong anywhere I want to be. And that is exactly what I say to students when they have, whether you want to say stupidity or wherewithal to come and talk to me for an extended period of time. That's what I tell them. And I do want to say this, I think more importantly now as I enter the twilight of my career, is that what this award means too, just offhand? Is that I also know that I want to start sharing that with TRIO professionals, first-gen professionals, because we all, first-gen professionals in the room, that degree somehow didn't lessen for me the feeling of my unworthiness or my not belonging. But you know what saves my butt every day is TRIO and what TRIO taught me, and so now I want to start imparting that to professionals just as much as I impart it to students. The creators of TRIO were geniuses, in my opinion, because they didn't just lay out in law a bunch of services. Yes, we read the regs, and yes, there's things we have to do. But anyone or any bot could distribute those services, could dole out services. I think the real genius is that they knew that they had to find special people, special leaders who could walk that journey with these TRIO participants. And those were people like Walter O. Mason. And those are people like you. The services aren't enough. A TRIO student needs more than just tutoring and a Saturday session and a summer program. A TRIO student needs someone who will believe in them until they can believe in themselves. And that's why I owe TRIO my life. TRIO became my safe harbor, my North Star, and remains that even in my professional life today. I often turn to my TRIO experience when I feel lost, jaded, defeated, or less than. Because TRIO is so much more than the services that we provide, ladies and gentlemen. TRIO will believe in each and every one of you until you can believe in yourself. And not every career does that. It is a gift that my career in TRIO has included learning from experts, and I've been blessed. And I know that I owe that blessing to one of the people I'm going to mention right now. But first, I want to thank Dr. Mitchum and Maureen Hoyler for, from when I came to my first conference in New Orleans, besides me not being a huge fan, I'm sorry, of the gumbo and the thing. That was my first time on a plane. That was my first time at a big hotel. That reception scared the crap out of me in 1990, whenever that. But I was blessed to have a mentor named Irvin Alcoin, who is a recipient of this award, who made me go to those things and who would put me in rooms and leave me with people like Dr. Mitchum and Maureen Hoyler and Dave Ferguson and Keith Horry, and would just leave me. I mean, all of a sudden, he was standing next to me talking, and then all of a sudden, he was gone. But then he would talk to me shortly thereafter and say, what did you learn from those people? What did they share with you? What are you taking back with you? And I promise you, there is not one conversation that I do not take something back from, ladies and gentlemen, from TRIO professionals, because you all are experts in so many things that you probably don't even realize. I also have to acknowledge a few other individuals by name and then a whole group of people. I do have to thank Michelle Scott, Joy Britton, and Tomasa Mauricio. We were presidents in succession for WESTOP, but we formed quite the group and unit, and we still are that today. They're sitting at my table. Tomas is in San Diego enjoying the weather. Those are the people who drove hundreds of miles to attend my mother's funeral. Those are the people who come to my graduation when it's in another state. So for those of you who are new in TRIO, if you're allowing it, these people will become so much more than just your colleagues. And I say have the courage to do it. I also want to thank people real quick like Dr. Ronnie Gross, Jelly, other Mason recipients like Deborah Northcross. I can't name them all. There's the book, refer to it. Yoichi Rangel from out in the islands, my good friend. And there's so many more. And it's not even award winners. Ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea the impact you have on me just sitting and talking to me after a session or running into you at a workshop. Know that you impact me. I may not always tell you that, you may not see it in my face, but know that what you tell me, I take with me, always. And I hope that for those of you that I did name, I hope you know that receiving this is in honor of each of you. And I hope you know that it shows you that all that you've done for me has not been in vain. And I hope I'm making you proud, Mr. Coyne. I promise this is the final. Some final notes of gratitude, of course, to my family. They're my foundation, they're my rock. They know that because they won't feed me unless I tell them that. I want them to know, though, that there is no this without them, and that's every day. To my friends in WESTOP and my family that is WESTOP, I ain't going nowhere. This award just means you probably expect me to do more. And I will. Finally, to each of you out there, all 1,700 of you who I would love to meet, and I like McDonald's hamburgers and fries, so to each of you who have embraced TRIO for the social movement that it is, and I'm gonna be a little blunt here, I do not mean the TRIO people who were this is your job. I mean the TRIO who have embraced this in your soul and in your heart as a movement, and that you know that you change lives. I thank you. I know that the work is tiring. I know that it's troubling and tedious, and I know at times you may feel undervalued and not seen. Please know, I see you. I see each and every one of you. You are the reason someone like me gets to stand up here right now. So thank you, and keep doing your work. And you are all why I ain't stopping this. I'm not done. You're all not done with me, because I know I have so much more to do. Thank you so much.